wall on the Daytona while we got the motor out, and then we're gonna paint the cage and the firewall body color so that it looks a little more finished, and then we'll repaint the inside black, and you know, we can get at things now that we couldn't get at before. So we're just gonna make it a little more refined, you know. I mean, we have some time between now and when the motor gets back, and now's the time to do it. Motor's out, we can clean it up, tape it up, paint it up, and it'll make a large improvement. Right, Joel?
Yes, sir.
Yesterday we cut the, this is where the windshield wiper motor went. So we cut a piece of metal the exact size of the windshield motor, and then we welded it around, and then we closed the bolt holes, and then we skimmed it with fiberall, and now we're going to put our finish coat of mud on it, and then we'll sand everything and make it smooth. Make it smooth, baby. So here's our a little prize when we pulled it out. We didn't know it was a Rossler. And I did some homework on Rossler and figured out that, oh shit, you know, they're an American company. They do, you know, pretty spectacular work and stuff that's holding big power. And they make most of their own parts, right? Versus trying to recreate using GM parts. They make everything in-house. So this doesn't downshift, and I was considering leaving it that way because it's working and doing, you know, just fine. But I'm probably going to send it off and let them make it so that it'll downshift into second and third. Doesn't sound like a lot to you guys. Like, why would you do that? You know, blah, blah, blah. Well, all of my stuff is street driven. Well, actually all street driven with the exception of the 67, which you know, you can drive it on the street, but it's just stupid, right? This stuff, it's all about street friendly and getting some use out of it. Drive it to the gym, drive it to the grocery store, drive it to your buddy's house, and drive it around, right? So, you know, being able to downshift, what it does is it enables you to, when you're slowly coming up to a red light, instead of being on the brakes all the time, right? You can downshift like you would like a normal car does, and it'll downshift for you, slow the car up, and you're not always squeezing the brake trying to slow the car, right? Seeing how that our Daytona has a parachute on the back, under high speeds you use the parachute, the brakes, and the downshift. So that's kind of where we're hoping to get. Now the Daytona motor's out. It's at the engine builder who built the Mustang motor, who did a great freaking job. Just great job. I can't tell you his name because he's too busy and he won't talk to you. So
You're showing the new wheels that we got?
And we got the new wheels. But the Daytona motor, we're gonna go back pretty similar to what it was because it made big power and did the deal. We're gonna add meth injection to it, which Joel is working on that. But this is our new front wheels. Seeing how Weld decided they didn't want to help us out, we're putting a set of Jigs wheels on it. So, you know what I mean? On the front. On the back, we'll have the welds, the old welds just redone. And
same color?
Same color. We had the color match for the back rims. We got rid of all the aluminum on the back, and it is now looking more black, like what we wanted. All black. Of course, we upgraded the center caps. Where's the center caps?
Right there, next. Right up there.
We upgraded the center caps. Of course, you know. Right?
Nice.
So,
look at those. Let's see them. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at. We got our. Let's see. What else we got going on? I don't think there's anything else that we're really waiting on. We did the front suspension. Now we have to drive. Right? Front suspension's finally with the best of the best springs we could put in it, and it has the right amount of travel, and we could drop the car low. On the back, I think we're going to drop the car even lower and just make it low. We have the new 3D spoiler coming, right? It was made out of this stuff. Here we go. This is a prototype for the front spoiler. I'll show you that. So it returns, it looks like that on the car. And it has the vents for where the air goes into the radiator, helps scoop some air into the radiator. Also, it'll be a deflector for high speeds and letting the air not get underneath the car and try to lift the car.
This was 3D printed.
That's 3D printed.
3D printed.
Right, Ron? Ron's visiting us today again. He's
The one who drew that up.
That's right. He's the one that drew that up. And now we have
Everything we need.
everything we need. So to give you a full breakdown on Sinister now, what we've done is we've changed the front suspension. We painted underneath the car. The hole underneath the car's been repainted, right? We took all the glass out of the doors,
Power windows,
and we added power windows. We added all new door glass,
air conditioning,
We added electric power steering,
big
right?
fuel tank.
And we put in a huge 35-gallon fuel tank
Yeah.
with the anticipation of converting over to E85 eventually, right?
Yep.
And what we're going to do is we're going to transition. We're going to go from the stock setup that it had for pump gas, add E85, or I'm sorry, add meth injection, and we have the water ice cooler thingy for the F3. And then we're going to switch over to E85, and we're going to measure it on pump gas with meth injection on the dyno, and then we're going to switch to E85 and see what we gain out of that. So we have an actual real benchmark on
Corn juice versus
corn. Yeah,
juice.
right. The corn. So what else did we do? We changed the rack. The rack was broken. They were using that to actually kind of support the front end for whatever reason. And we added a cross-section pipe over there and tightened everything up a little bit. So now we're not dependent on the rack to actually be doing anything to the front end. We also
New seats, new shifter.
new sheets, new shifter, redid the console, rewired the car, put in a new MSD 7AL. We added lights. We added everything. I mean, the front end now that has the head cameras, front camera, rear camera. Added the air compressor for the air shifter, so you don't have a tank that you have to refill. So we have a small air compressor back there with a reserve tank.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we closed the gap on the nose.
Michael
The
gap.
infamous gap. No, it's just, and then we painted the front end on the car. Of course, we had the back end detailed by Randy, and we hinged the hood, and plus pinned the hood. So now the hood hinges and pins so that you can lift the hood without having to pick the hood off to get to the engine compartment. You know, it's just those things that help with the manners, so that if you're alongside, you know, you're driving down the road and you hear something, you see something, and you need to look at it, you don't have to unbutton the hood and put it on top of your roof in the middle, you know, on the side of the road. This way here, you just lift it, pull the pins, tilt it, put your prop in, and you're able to view what you might need to view. We also added an alarm protection. So basically, if low fuel, a light and a buzzard goes off. For oil, low oil pressure, light and buzzard. For high water temp, light and buzzard. Okay, and that's really the three things that we monitored. You could do more, I'm sure. Everything else has gauges, which I generally, you know, unfortunately, I don't generally look at them when I'm bouncing on a car, so I need something to flash in my face and say, hey, something's messed up, right? So at the end of the day, I think that we've done a really good job on the car, and I think as time goes on, this car was really, the idea of the purchase for this was to roll race, right? And I don't know that maybe at the tail end of this season, if everything goes, you know, really well, due to the coronavirus and the availability of parts is a little tough, you know. So if we get everything back in time, I'd like to do it in the fall. and go up there and race Lamborghinis and all that big bad boy stuff and see how we'd fare out. You know what I mean? So just to give you an idea, the Daytona back in the day, Richard Petty ran around the track, right? And we're hitting miles an hour of 200 mile an hour. So think about that. And that was with an old school Hemi, right? Now, they used to blow up on a regular basis. There was nothing you see them going around the track and all of a sudden they were winning the race and their motor would go boom. It's because they had them on the edge. So, you know, we're going to do something a little more conservative than that, just a little bit. We're going to get it all the way up to where it can go, and then we're going to back it off just a little bit, leave maybe 100 horsepower on the bench, right? So that we can get some life out of it. So we don't have to keep pulling the motor in and out, right? So just remember this, guys. When you start squeezing them for all the juice you can get, you're on the edge. And what generally happens when you're on the edge, you end up going over. So sometimes it's good to take them to the edge, knowing that you have a little left in them, or take them to the edge and then back them off. So you know you have a little left in. Go conservative on fuel ratio, conservative on timing, conservative on boost, right? So that you can get some longevity out of it and enjoy it without having to constantly wrench. That's just my advice. Do what you want. That's it.